What is up, you people? My name is Tyler Lunsford, and welcome to another interview here on the channel. This one's a little bit different. I haven't done many of these, haven't done really any recently. The last one I did was probably about 6 to 8 months ago, but I'm super excited to be bringing you another interview, and this one is on someone that many of you have heard of, but if I would have asked you probably a month or two ago, you would have had no idea who I was talking about. But I am super excited that a lot of people are learning about him now, and I'm super excited to have him here on the channel. He is potentially the creator that has released maybe the product of the year, a lot of people are saying. So I can't wait to deep dive into this. Without any further ado, I'm talking about my new friend, Donnovan Mount. How are you doing, Donnovan?
Pretty good, Tyler. Nice to meet you. Hello,
Nice to meet you as
everyone.
well. Thanks for doing this. Seriously, I really do appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for asking. I really appreciate it. Giving me the opportunity to
Absolutely.
come out.
Yeah, before we dive into Laced Up, which I do just want to point out, I do have my second copy of now. So everyone, go get your second copy of Laced Up if you have your first. And if you don't have your first, then go ahead and get your first. But what I wanted to say was, basically, let's just start with how did you get into Magic and like, who are you? Like, who is Donnovan Mount? Because a lot of people didn't really know about Donnovan before this release.
Yeah. So who's Donovan? I've done a medley of different things. So I started out like performance-wise, like as a musician. So I've got like a ton of like original music, like I think it's like 40 plus original songs. That was originally like my like this is what I want to do with my life. And then at one point I came back to Magic. But how I got into Magic started out how a lot of people probably my age got into Magic. They saw David Blaine's Street Magic special. And for me, I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. and I learned a little bit of Magic, and eventually I ended up putting it down. I was probably like 12, 13 or something like that at the point in time. And then I picked it up again in high school when a friend of mine, my friend Tyler, showed me a Magic. He
Not me,
was like,
not me.
here,
Just want to point that out.
no.
Yeah, different Tyler.
Tyler Lilly. I
Okay.
don't even think he does Magic anymore, but he was like, here, pick a card, and I'm pretty sure it was like the Nine of Diamonds, and he's like, okay, we'll pick another one, and it was the Nine of Diamonds, and it was the Nine of Diamonds, and he did that for me, and I was like, oh, I remember some of these, and so we did Magic back and forth for probably about 6 months, and eventually I ended up putting it back down again. But then I picked it up 6 years ago, and I've been with it ever since. Basically, me and my friends were getting ready to go skydiving, and the night before, we decided to watch the Now You See Me movies. And I was like, huh, do you know some of those are like real tricks? It's not like all CGI. And they were like, what, really? And I taught them how to do like the ripple of the force at
Oh yeah.
from the beginning of the movie. And I've been doing it ever since. And I kind of figured out like when I was a kid, I did it because I thought it was cool. And then when I was in, I mean, I still think it's cool, but when I was in high school, I did it because it was a great way to bond with a friend of mine. And now I do it because I go out and I perform and I interact with people, and I've made so many friends through Magic. And
That's awesome.
then, yeah, and a little side note, found out at some point in my youth that my grandpa was a magician and my grandma was his assistant.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, but he never taught me anything. Like, I don't even remember him doing magic for us as a kid. He taught me how to throw cards at one point in time. But then he fell, like broke his hand, and he put magic down. And told him about like that I was releasing Laced Up because I knew he still liked magic. And I actually went to see him before leaving on this trip that I'm on. And I saw a deck of cards sitting by where he normally sits. And turns out like for the last 3 months, 6 months, he's been playing with cards again, and we got to sit down and jam for the first
Oh
time.
man, that's
And
incredible.
it was so cool. I don't know if me putting this out into the market and like being in like the community kind of like sparked an interest in him to get back into it, but it was so cool. He ended up giving me like an old linking rings like manuscript that somebody put out, one of his old magic wands, and this photo of him performing magic to this little girl who's probably like 8 or 10 years old, and it turns out the little girl's my mom.
Oh my gosh, a full
So
circle.
yeah, and it was
Holy
it was
cow.
just a wild, like a little wild origin story for me.
Yeah, that really is. I mean, that's an incredible story. I mean, it's just like it pulls on all the heartstrings and everything. Like, dude, that's incredible. Seriously,
Thank
wow.
you.
Well, yeah, not I mean, everyone, I guess, a lot of people have a story. Well, my grandpa did magic, but the fact that you didn't know he did magic and then you got
Hmm.
into magic and then you found out, like, that's awesome. And then the way that you found out now he's getting back into it, that's genuinely incredible. So yeah, well, that's awesome. I wonder if Laced Up did have a lot to do with that. That's something that's interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know, but I mean, it was the closest that I've ever felt was like right before, like the closest I ever felt to him was like right before I left when we got to
wow.
sit down for like an hour and a half and just play with cards together.
Oh, that's awesome. And magic can just bring so many people together in so many different ways. Even family members that I didn't know
Hmm.
they had a connection to magic with each other for so long. Wow, that's awesome. Before we dive into some more questions about Laced Up, what actually is Laced Up? Can you just give us a quick rundown, maybe like 60 seconds of what this routine actually looks like before we start talking all about it?
Yeah, yeah. So laced up in general is a moving knot effect, but really, in my opinion, I love it so much more as a ring flight. So you could take a borrowed ring and you just touch it to the little crossbar at the bottom of your shoelaces, like where the center of the shoelaces would be. You touch the ring there, and it melts through the shoelaces, creating this impossible situation. And then you pluck the bow off the shoelaces and touch it to the bottom just like you did before. And now you've moved the bow to the bottom of the shoelaces, where then you can untie the bow and remove and return the spectator's ring, retie the shoelaces. And I like to do it this way, but if you can get the spectator to kind of like, well, can you move it back to the top? And it's like, well, what do you mean? It's like, and you move it right back to the top.
It looks
So
so good. It looks
yeah,
so good. So congratulations on making it look as good as it does. And
well,
let's
thank
get
you.
into some more questions about Laced Up. Is this your first release? Because I know that a lot of people have said like, who is Donovan? Like, does he have other releases? And because I want to check out his past stuff, because Laced Up has kind of just stormed on to the scene. Like, what has happened? Have you
Uh,
released other magic?
No, actually, this is laced up is it's my first little like drop into the pool of
Oh
magic.
man. Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and boy, did you just come out like guns ablazing. And was that on purpose? Did you realize
Um,
this is going to be as big as a lot of people are saying it is?
no, I mean, I loved it. So I've been working on laced up for 4 years now. And I had friends tell me like, oh wow, this is really good. You should reach out to like David Blaine's team and see if he would do it. And I was like, yeah, no, he wouldn't do anything like this. Like, I mean, he might have like 10 years ago, but like, I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know, maybe today.
Maybe. But then I ended up running into a lot of the Penguin guys at a Magi Fest. Actually, it was last Magi Fest. And I was like, hey, I've got this thing, and just wondering if you'd be interested in it. And I've been friends with a decent amount of the people at Penguin for a while. Um, and I showed it to them, and they were like, what what is this? And it was they were showing it around to pretty much the entire crew that night,
Wow.
and it's been in the works for basically about a year with Penguin now.
Wow, that's awesome. So are you going to be at Magi Fest this year or no? Because I know you're currently working on something. I didn't know if it conflicted or.
So as of right now, I'm not sure. I'd love to make it. I really would. And I just don't know because I'm gonna be so long and short of what I'm doing is I'm working on a project with my best friend right now where we're traveling the entire United States. We're spending a week in every single state, living with just people that live there, trying to learn about our country and to learn about people that are inside of it, trying to create like a little mini movement of
Yeah.
like getting people curious about other people so that hopefully there's a little more understanding and maybe a little less division. I keep saying if we can heal like 1% of the divide that's in America, we were wildly successful.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's what we're doing. And I don't 100% know what state I'm going to be in, but
Yeah.
I'm going to try to hop on a plane and get out there, but I'm not sure it's going to quite work out with the schedule yet.
That would be awesome if you did. I will be there. So if you're
You're going to be
there,
there?
yeah, I'm going to be there. So
Oh,
if you're there, absolutely say hey. We'll hang out. We'll grab a bite to eat. But
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
I would absolutely love to do that. Yeah, just let me know. This is actually my first Magi Fest, so we'll see how it goes. I'm super
It's your
excited.
first one.
It is.
That's awesome. Congratulations on
Thanks.
that.
Yep, I am very excited. Looking forward to it. When you were first creating Laced Up, how did it come about? Like, what did you sit down and go? okay, I think I'm onto something here. Like, what even sparked the idea? Like, how long did it take? Because I know you said you've been working on it for 3 to 4 years, but how long did it actually take to just come up with the initial idea, or how long were you thinking about it before it became physical, or what?
So how it started is I was sitting, actually, I don't know if you know who he is. He actually is one of the Penguin guys. His name's David Newell.
David is one of
He's
my good friends.
oh you
I love David so much.
oh dude, sweet. That's awesome. Yeah, but I was actually sitting in his garage, and I think we were just sitting out talking, hanging out, and I was like, I wonder if I could like take the bow off my shoes and then just put it back on. And that was it. And that's where it started. And then I was like, well, if I can do that, I should at least be able to like untie it and retie
Yeah, yeah.
it. And so then I got the idea, and it started out with the if you imagined half of laced up, it's basically what it started out as. And then I was actually hanging out with another Penguin guy, Nick Popa, if you're familiar with
Yeah,
him.
Nick is also, yep, I love those guys.
Dude, nice. And he filmed the first video of me performing it, just taking the bow off, putting it back on, and untying the laces. And he sent it to another friend of ours, Dalton Wayne. And Dalton was
Also
like,
love Dalton.
and Dalton was like, well, could you put it on at the bottom of the shoelaces? And I actually credit Dalton in the tutorial. But yeah, so I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I could do that, and I did that, and I was like, perfect, perfect. And then I was actually working on an audition for Penn and Teller Fool Us, and I was going to do a ring and rope, not like finger ring, but like a larger ring and rope routine. And I was going to end it with having the ring disappear and then reappear on my shoelaces on the bottom of it. And then I was going to pick the bow off, move the bow, untie the bow, and take the ring off, and then be able to give that out. And that was going to be that's where like the ring flight actually started.
Wow. So did the Penn and Teller thing, is that maybe a
Um,
potential?
no, no, I don't think it's a potential. I never ended up like finishing my act and submitting
I
it.
got you.
So when I was when I ended up submitting it to Penguin, I was like, okay, I guess this is the track for this now.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. I'm also a little confused as to how we have all these mutual friends and we've never heard of each other.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. I've been friends with David and Nick and Dalton for probably three. No, I was friends with them before I moved to Columbus, so at least 4
Wow.
years now.
Wow, that's awesome. I've been friends with Dalton for a little bit, but I actually didn't become friends with David, and I knew of Nick for years, but I actually
Hmm.
didn't become friends with David until Magic Live this
Oh,
past
okay,
year. So I met him
nice.
there through like Dalton and all that good stuff. But yeah, so they're super awesome guys.
They're
I
so
met up
good.
with a couple of them, met up with David and Chris at the Tricks convention because that's down in
Hmm.
Carolina. So I went to
Hannawell.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
Met up with those guys.
Actually, my first convention was Tricks with David and Braden Deweese, if you know him.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
met him at Tricks,
yeah,
and yep, I'll be seeing them when I go up to Columbus.
nice. I actually I had met mutual friend of ours named his name's Paul, and ran into him at a magic shop, and he was just like, "Hey, what are you doing like in 2 weeks?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "We have a group of guys going to a magic convention in North Carolina. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Sure." So
Yeah,
I
why not?
I met David and Braden in this guy's garage, and then immediately hopped into like a 6 or 8
Wow.
hour car ride with them,
Yeah,
and then we've been
it's a
like best
haul.
friends since.
Wow, that's incredible. See, I didn't really, this is a tip for anyone out there. If you want to make magic friends, go to magic conventions. That is the easiest way to do it. You
Yep.
will meet so many people. That is how I started actually, because I mean, I've been on like the YouTube scene and stuff like that for years, but I've never actually been able to have like a lot of in-person magic friends I've been able to like meet
Hmm.
up with and stuff. And that didn't start until I started going to more conventions. So if you're curious, go to more conventions. That's the answer. And I can't believe you were down at
100%.
Tricks. Yeah, Tricks
Yeah.
is great. My first Tricks as well. see now that I'm like graduated college, I have like at least a little bit of disposable income, so I can actually afford
Mm-hmm.
to go to. I'm not just a broke college student anymore, and now I'm just broke. So I can actually go to these conventions a little bit more often. Not have to worry about schoolwork and stuff, which is nice. So that's why all these conventions are my first, because I'm finally have the opportunity to go, which is great. But yes, so maybe I'll see you in Magi Fest, maybe I won't. But back
If
to
not,
this.
I'll be at the next one. So
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be there too. We keep getting sidetracked. I apologize. If hopefully if you're here, you're
yeah,
enjoying this, because I'm certainly enjoying this. I'm
me
really getting
too.
a lot
So
from it. But the laced up gimmicks are so they're essentially they're really simple, but they
hmm
create something that is just so mind-boggling. Like, how has this always been the method that you
hmm
started with, and eventually it just worked up to what it is now? Because you were talking about all the things that you've added, but is this what it started as?
yeah, changed. But other than that, I don't know if I was supposed to say that on camera,
We'll
but
believe it. We'll believe it.
all right, yeah, the those have changed. But other than that, everybody's gonna be really upset with me when I say this. The color of the shoelaces has changed as well.
No. Were they white?
They were originally white,
Oh, don't say
but
that. We're gonna get so many haters on this video.
it just doesn't look as good. I'll be
I
honest,
know. I
it doesn't.
people commented saying it, and I was like, guys, I really think that this is better off being black. Like, trust
Yeah,
me.
I mean, I could see it being like brown or another
Maybe a
dark
dark gray, like
color.
a
Yeah,
charcoal color.
I would love that. Gray is my favorite color, so I
Oh,
would love for like
we
a
gotta
dark
ring.
gray.
Yeah, we gotta ring Sean up.
Yeah,
Give him a call. Tell him that laced up dark gray is coming in for next
dark
year.
gray. Yes.
We absolutely have to get that happening. Wow, that's
I want to
awesome.
work on the dress shoes version, really, but
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be
yeah.
incredible. I feel like there's so many things that you could do with Laced Up as far as like releasing some sequels. Is there
hmm
any plans for that, or do you have any ideas for it?
Nothing as of right now. I've I have a thought in my head of something similar using a similar method, but not using tennis shoes. And I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay, okay, that's our little
I don't
tease.
I don't know if it'll be more than like just a Instagram video at some point in time, but we'll see what happens.
Wow. Well, hopefully it turns into more than an Instagram video, because as you can see, a lot of people have been raving over Laced Up. So I'm curious, do you have anything else in the pipeline that may be coming out soon, or are you currently creating,
Um,
or is there any talks?
yeah, so I don't have anything like in the works with any company, though I did just I had talked with Sean over at Penguin, oh, what, like 2 days ago, and sent an idea out to him, not for it would be a utility device
Okay.
as opposed to a magic trick, but it's something that I've been working on with independent designers and trying to bring to life. But everything that I've gotten back from a designer has been like a 3D printed thing, and I think it's going to have to be made of metal just for like structural integrity and like size.
Yeah.
So I just sent that over to Sean. So he hasn't said anything back. Other than that, I'm working on what'll probably end up turning into like a lecture. But
Okay.
I so on this trip I picked out like, I don't know, 7 like everyday items. And I was like, these are the items that I'm going to carry with me every single day. And I'm going to take them with me every day on this trip and see what kind of magic tricks I can come up with. And I wanted them to be very common items because I do a lot of very, very practical magic. I'm not wearing a ring right now, but I do a lot of rings, rubber bands, a little bit of coins. But yeah, so I wanted it to be very practical, everyday objects. And I don't know if maybe I'll end up getting something out of there that'll become a product. But as of right now, the thought of with what I have is probably like a lecture.
Okay. Okay. So there are some things potentially in the pipeline, and hopefully maybe in the
hmm
next year or two we'll be able to see some more stuff come out. Well, that's
Yeah.
exciting. Do you feel, because I know that Laced Up being such a success that it has been, and with all the hype that it has, do you feel any pressure for your next release, that you feel like you have to meet a certain standard, or do you feel like you don't care about the pressure, or maybe there's not any at all, but you kind of
Mhm.
didn't expect it to pop off like this. Is there any sort of pressure there?
Not I don't think there's a lot of pressure quite yet, just because I mean we're like 3 weeks from release and from laced up release. So, but I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm excited about like the next opportunity to submit something. Um, I realized that like uh just because this did really well doesn't mean that like the next thing wouldn't do well. But I track it every day, just about
Yeah,
every day,
of
and like
course.
I've it's been number one on Penguin. I would say 6 out of 10 days since it's been released on
Yeah.
average. And I'm so happy to see that. So happy that everybody's been loving it so much. But yeah, I don't think I felt the pressure yet. I think once I submit it and we're like getting ready to come out, then I'm gonna be like, oh man, I really hope this does well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's sort of the issue with releasing something that just kind of shoots to the top of the charts and stays there for a while when it's your first thing, because you might get these unrealistic expectations set of, man, or even feel some sort of pressure of like, man, I gotta, I want my next one to stay at the top too or whatever.
I'm sure that pressure will be coming at
Yeah.
some point in time.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. Well, seriously, I appreciate you doing this so much. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I hope to have you back on the channel sometime soon. I'd love to do
Yeah,
more
I'd
of a
love to do
deep
that.
dive into you and your project that you're working on. Maybe in a couple months we can see how it's going and you've gone through a few more states. I would love to talk to you then. Or maybe we
Mhm.
could do something in person whenever you stop by my area. We could see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd love to. But yeah, just thanks again. Genuinely, like I just really do appreciate it. And this has been so much fun for me. So thanks,
Dude,
thanks
no
for
problem. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're certainly welcome. But thank you for watching. If you're still here in this video and you've listened to us ramble on about Laced Up and you've listened to us talk about our magic friends and our magic interests, then I really appreciate it. And if you would like to pick up Laced Up, you can do so by going over to Penguin Magic and buying it from them. It comes in one color, but maybe there's one in the future coming. But for now, it's just one color, and it's absolutely incredible. I absolutely love it to death. And Donovan, if they want to find you somewhere, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, if they want to follow me on social media, it's D27 Magic. And if you're interested in hearing more about the tour that I am on, it's at the American Discovery Tour.
Perfect.
So it's well, if you it's just American Discovery Tour on Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for letting me know. I'm going to go check that out as soon as we get done here. Yes, if you would like to go purchase Laced Up and support Donovan and also pick up some really freaking cool magic in the process, then you can go ahead and do that. All the links will be down in the description for his socials and for Laced Up. So once again, thanks, Donovan. Thanks to you. And if you would like to watch another video on the channel, then feel free. There's going to be a video popping up somewhere on the screen. You can figure out what you'd like to watch next. That's the video that YouTube thinks you should watch next. So maybe you should watch it. Maybe you should, dive into the algorithm a little bit. So let me know if it worked. But comment down below. Let me know if you want to see more of these videos. I really appreciate you doing this, Donovan. Once again, thank you so much. And I will see you, whoever you are, if you're watching this, once again, thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.